So for anyone we didn't meet tonight, we're Jerry and Jim, James's parents, and we'd like to welcome all of you to this incredible venue for the rehearsal dinner for a very important event in the lives of James and Laura. The big day is coming. I'd also like to welcome the Taylor clan. So the extended Taylor clan. We've gotten to know a number of you. Well, certainly, we certainly met some of you a while ago, but over the last couple of days, we've really gotten a chance to meet a lot of Laura's family, and you guys are great. I think one of the amazing things about weddings is that it's kind of the merger of families, right? So you get to extend your family. How great is that? We started off with. So we started off with 4 kids. Now we have 6 kids, and by the end of the weekend, we're going to have 7. So it's kind of like us, like the family lottery, and we won it. So all good. So some of my notes. So I guess the first thing I'd say is that, one of the things for Jerry and I is we really regret that we didn't get to meet Laura's mom, Ann. We've heard so much about her, and, I think that Laura has a lot of her attributes from what we've heard, and, I know that she will be here in spirit for this weekend with all of us. I'd also like to mention a couple of other family members that are not with us. Barbara and George and David and Jane, which are Laura's grandparents, and certainly Naomi and Martin and Joan and Ed, which are James's grandparents. So I want to talk a little bit about Nantucket, and then I'll talk about James. And then Jerry's got some things to say about Laura and James. What's that? Go ahead. Did I forget something? Huh?
I will say it when you're
So Nantucket has been a very special place for the family. And I think of it as, sort of a soulful place that kind of is in our DNA. So we go back probably 40 years in Nantucket, and for the kids, for a good 15 years, we came here every August, and it was probably one of the most idyllic times in our lives. The island feels far away. It's an amazing beauty, great light, beautiful beaches open to the public. And I think if you walk around, what's that? And now they're topless.
Just at my comment.
I think if you walk around this venue, you'll get a feel for some of the special aspects in the history of Nantucket. From the mid-1700s to mid-1800s, this was the whaling capital of the world, right? And a lot of wealth came to Nantucket, and they had their, I think, trying times afterwards. But I think one of the interesting things, in 1966, this became a National Historic District, this city of Nantucket, and they cited it as being one of the most preserved environmental places for 19th and 20th century living, like New England seaport living, which was really amazing because I think that started to, they were not able to tear things down. It became all kind of under preservation rules. And then in 1983, which is really interesting for a small island, they decided to put a land bank in place. And so what happens here is that there is a 2% transfer tax on every real estate transaction on Nantucket that goes to fund the land bank to buy open spaces. And so as you can imagine, as popular as this place was, they had the real calamity of like rising prices and how do we keep this place special. And so this land bank has really worked incredibly well. I think they've done a great job. And look, in the end, I think there's $350 million has been raised by the land bank and gone into open spaces. And it'll keep up with time, right? Because, again, that transfer tax is in place. I don't know why they don't do that in more places, but they've done it very well here. I want to say a couple things about James. Now, James is a very special guy who hates being the center of attention. So you have to abide with us here, James. How would I describe James? Intelligent, curious, passionate, voracious reader, a profound thinker, deeply analytical, which is a rarity in today's world. Facts matter to James. He's the antithesis of a soundbite guy. So I think of James as a Renaissance man. And as most of his friends and family can attest, on topics of passion for James, which would include geopolitics, sports, outer space, history, food and wine, James has a great mastery of the topic. And I give you one example from an early stage in James's life. So we grew up on the Jersey Shore, raised the kids in the Jersey Shore, and during September 11th, a lot of people we knew and others were killed. And so, very tough time for all of us. And in those early days, before anyone really knew what was going on, we were trying, who did this, and we all of that. And all of a sudden, James is in a conversation with him, he's like, Dad, it was the Taliban. I'm like, Taliban? Like, who is that? Al-Qaeda, sorry. Al-Qaeda, Taliban. But James knew. And so, for a lot of us that didn't, James had the answer to all of that. So, it was an interesting time with James. The other thing I'd mention to you is that, when I think about kind of the idyllic life on Nantucket, we had, here's a day in the life that I think kind of touches on a lot of the issues of Nantucket. So the three boys and I decided to go fishing. So we get up in the morning, it's like 6 a.m. with a buddy, takes us out to Great Point. These guys were little at the time. And so we start fishing, and of course we're pulling blues out of the water. And these guys it was kind of cool until we pull a couple out of the water, and then we start to cut off pieces of the fish, and we're like, hey, have a bite. And they're all like, what are you kidding? I'm not going to eat a raw fish. So that started the day. Lunchtime, there's a whole bunch of ponds around here. So what you do is you go to the pond, you bring chicken legs, and you drop a chicken leg in the pond, and you slowly pull the chicken legs out, and you'll find soft-shell crabs. So that was our lunch. And then dinner, went out and raked for clams. So it was just that kind of, nature in Nantucket that I think sticks in our memories, and we just love this place. So we're very happy to be able to celebrate this wedding on Nantucket. I think Laura's first time on Nantucket was a year ago or 2 years ago.
I think that's when we first started dating. So
Yeah. So 5 years ago. Laura and James are big fans, so all good. Do you want to?
Well, I'll say what we forgot. We forgot to thank the Taylors for the wonderful weekend that we are going to, a wonderful wedding that we're going to experience tomorrow.
Good point. So.
So this is to Laura and James. Until today, your individual stories have been written. From this day forward, the two of you are the authors of your own new book, filled with chapters, filled with pages. You are the main characters with family, friends, colleagues, dogs, hopefully little ones soon. Like, there's no pressure. You will compose the plot and the dialogue, each changing the course of what will happen. Your stories will weave and wind around one another, moving steadily forward and propelled by all the things that you wish for and dream of. Your lives together lie open before you, like blank fresh pages. What will be written on those pages? What stories will you have to tell? Much will happen as a result of the choices you make, the adventures you take. There will be situations that you face which you have absolutely no control of, but we know that you will face them admirably. James, we know most of your first book. You are our sweet baby James, born on the 1st of December, our third, our blue-eyed, blonde-haired boy, certainly different than two older siblings. You walked and talked really early, asked questions we couldn't answer, like, Mom, how can you drive on the driveway? I'm sorry, how can you drive on the parkway and park on the driveway? At the age of 2, we didn't have an answer. James, you never stopped asking questions. Soon you were answering ours. You are always reading. You are a master of facts and truly an original thinker. At Lawrenceville, you excelled academically. At Vanderbilt, you majored in social relations. I'm not sure how much you learned, but you learned how to have a good time. Making lifelong friends, many that are here today. James, you are passionate, intense, challenging, loyal, and kind. You are profound and sensitive, sometimes complicated, and always brutally honest. You are a dreamer. After college, James went west to California, where he worked for a private equity firm and then a music startup. The dream of politics brought him back east to DC, but his political career hit a hiccup really early on, and then he and some of you here today did a startup. That resulted in James going to business school. Business school led James to a wonderful job that he loves, working in venture capital. In DC, James met a girl with whom he became quickly enchanted. That is Laura, Lauren James. This is where your book really begins as one. Stories become intertwined. This book, we know, will be filled with love, beautiful places and people, lots of travel, fine food, fine wine, and of course, foodie tales. James, you are so lucky to have met Laura, this quietly elegant, determined, ambitious, and beautiful lady whom you will marry tomorrow. Laura, Jim and I could not be happier that you are about to become our daughter. Whitney and I have been outnumbered for way too long. Now with Whitney, Sarah, who isn't here tonight, but hopefully will be tomorrow, and you, Laura, that will be 3 girls and 4 boys with Hunter. We're getting closer, but we still need one more girl. I wonder who that will be. Laura and James. To the 2 of you, congratulations to forever. We dream that your dreams will not always be your dreams. We dream that they become real. We love you so much, and we want to give you big hugs and big kisses. So now let's all raise a glass to celebrate Laura and James. We have 2 things that we want to give to Laura and James. Laura, this is an independent bag that I got probably 40 years ago. And I wanted to get you, I thought about getting you a new one, and then I thought, well, I have one that I love, and I want to give it to you. So inside here is an ivory, I take it out, too much room. A piece of ivory that you can have your initials monogrammed on if you like it. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it.
And James, this is for you. lives.